Well, I'm fairly sure I'm not late. Just in case Simon's watching or Scott, and they're going to start putting things in the chat saying, Gacy's late, Gacy's late. No, I'm not. I'm on time. Thank you very much. So, thanks for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. So, I am Gatesy. This is Falls from Iron, and this is Hammer Shocks. So, without further ado, I am going to bring in my co-conspirator in this particular series, Mr. West Ham Online. How are you, sir?
Very good, very good. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad. Ready to rock and roll with some of the meaty morsels that you have dropped into my lap today. So, before we go too much further with that, shall we introduce the two co-conspirators within this particular episode?
Yep.
Okay, so first one, Steve 50. How are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you. Rather than co-conspirator, can myself and the other guests be the chief interrogators?
Yeah, good label to have. We'll go with that. We'll go with that. And the other one from the Emerald Isle, Cathal, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm ready to chief interrogate, as Steve just said there. I'm ready for work.
You are indeed. You are indeed. So, ladies and gentlemen, before I go too much further, I'd like to just pay a little bit of a tribute, if you will. There was some very tragic news that we've been in the world today about a young 9-year-old lad by the name of Jordan Banks. This is the young fella in question here. Now, Jordan Banks was, I believe, at a training session, and he had the misfortune. There was a lightning strike, and sadly, this young lad lost his life. So, I'd just like to sort of pay tribute to this young man. Gone too soon. And we at West Ham, we at Falls from Iron and the wider West Ham YouTube community, pay tribute to this young man. May he rest in peace.
Yeah. Can I just quickly add, I thought it was very saddening to see how Sky News showed, in my opinion, no remorse interviewing which was said to be his best friend only moments after he died. I thought that was a bit sudden, in my opinion.
Yeah,
but
a bit too soon.
Rest in peace to him. Yeah, that's sad to see. It's really sad to see when he's only 9, especially. He had a lot of life to live. So, all condolences go out to his family and friends.
100%. Yeah, well said, gentlemen.
Yeah, his parents. I mean, if it was one of my kids, I'd be in pieces. So his family, definitely our thoughts are with them as well.
Yeah. So as I say, this puts it all into a little bit of perspective. I mean, we have a little bit of fun on this channel, and we have discussions. Sometimes they're silly, sometimes they get heated. But this all puts it into perspective. This was a 9-year-old lad just going to have a kick about with his mates, play football, train for football, and he never came home. So as I say, condolences to the family, and may he rest in peace. Okay, so West Ham Online. This is your little brainchild. So you put out a message on your Instagram post. Tell the viewers what you did and the end result of it. Over to you.
So every week when we do this show, to get the opinions which are unpopular from people, I'll put on my Instagram story. On West Ham Online, please send in any unpopular opinions you have about West Ham, and then I'll say that we're answering them on this channel. And usually there's a few stinkers, there's a few that can be debated, and I've tried to find a mix for this week because I thought last week there was too many that were just very easy to tell that the person is just either blind or they have dementia. So we're going to be going over many of them today.
Okay. So What one would you like to select first, West Ham Online? I've got your 5 ready as a banner. So do you have any one in particular you'd want to tackle first?
Yeah, I feel like this one, I do think it's probably unpopular in our fan base at the moment, but I think you could find reason to debate it. JP.accounts on Instagram put Anderson is better than Ben Rama.
That could provoke a reaction. I could be wrong, but this could be quite an interesting one. So, Anderson greater than Ben Rama. Now, if anybody's in the live chat that wants to get involved, get your comments in. And just before we go too much further, I'll just give them due credit. We've got Kent Hammers in the building. How you doing, mate? Hope you're well. And we've also got 15 Ryan.c. So thank you for coming along, guys. Welcome. Get involved. So Anderson is greater than Ben Rama. Now, Ryan's come straight in. Not true. Okay, that's fine. Not a problem. Now, your opinion first, West Ham Online, on that. West Ham, is Anderson greater than Ben Rama?
I don't believe he is. I think Ben Rama's a better player. First of all, I think he's probably slightly better to watch, although Anderson at times was a joy to watch. I feel like he's more creative than Anderson. But you could certainly argue that they're quite similar in many aspects. Anderson, for me, was a player who last season was he was so frustrating to watch because you just knew how much potential he had, and he just seemed so he seemed like he had a lack of confidence on the ball. And although his stats last season are similar to Ben Rama's this season, I think Ben Rama at least looks confident when he picks up the ball and has influenced games. Whereas last season, I thought Anderson was one of our worst players, quite frankly, when he started. But it's certainly something that you could pull up stats to argue for either player. So I wouldn't say it's a horrific opinion, but I personally disagree, and I feel like Ben Rama has a lot more to show that he has in his locker, whereas I think Anderson's 18-19 season was probably his peak, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, Kent makes the point there. If Anderson was the Anderson from his first season and played as a number 10, then there's legs in that comment that he's greater than Ben Rama. If you're comparing the Anderson of last season to Ben Rama of this, well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Before I get into that, I'll throw it across to the other members of the committee. Steve 50. So Anderson is greater than Ben Rama. Discuss.
I mean, on Anderson's last season and Ben Rama now, I don't think there's a lot between it, to be honest. And that might be an unpopular opinion. And here's where I disagree with West Ham Online. I think Anderson's the better player. You know, if they're both playing at their peak, I think Anderson is better. I think particularly Anderson's finishing and his goal contribution when he is at his best is better than Ben Rama can offer. And that's critical for that type of player. Also, you know, it is such a fine call, but I would just say, I'd say Anderson edges it, but it's really, really close for me. And yes, Duke, I probably am brave, but there you have it. I think Ben Rama has got tremendous potential, and I think Ben Rama will come good. What I can't get past is, you know, how good Anderson was that first season. And Anderson has actually shown he can do it. Ben Rama hasn't. Now, okay, Anderson might not have done it last season, but Anderson has shown he is able to perform at that level. And that, for me, gives Anderson the edge. If Ben Rama showed me he could perform at that level, I might think differently about it. But at the moment, I've got to go for Anderson because, okay, he had a lousy last season with us and ended up in Porto. where it's not gone any better for him there, tragically. But no, the best Anderson I saw in the Premier League is better than the best Ben Rama I've seen in the Premier League. So that's where I am on it.
Yeah, and the thing is, it may well be that Ben Rama goes on to eclipse Anderson, and I seriously hope he does, and I think he's got the potential to. But if we're talking about what we've seen with our own eyes up to this point, rather than what could potentially happen down the track, then yeah, I kind of agree with your assessment of it, Steve. Over to you, Cahill.
It's a tough one. Anderson has proved in a West Ham shirt by that first season he's been better for us than Ben Rama has. But if you're going currently, it's tough. I know Ben Rama's played more football and he hasn't been the worst. He's been very 50-50. He's been hit or miss playing for us. But Anderson came for a high price. They both came from high prices, but Anderson had played in a higher league and had been in Brazil squads. And got recalled to a Brazil squad when he was playing for us. Ben Rama's hasn't been a solid starter for Algeria yet. So so far in their careers, Anderson's done more. He played at a high level in the Premier League in that first year, and Ben Rama was a high quality championship player. He's a good player now as well. It's just he hasn't proven to be better. It's just at the current form, I think Ben Rama has more confidence to him, and if they were both in the squad for the game at the weekend, you'd probably be putting Ben Rama on before Anderson. But sort of if Anderson is to come back, you'd if he's given the time to play for us in preseason, it's just one of those you'd have to see. But I understand the argument for both sides, and it's not. I wouldn't say it's too controversial of an opinion to have because they're two very dividing players, so people can have very harsh views on them.
Yeah, I mean, I like I say, if you're going to compare Saeed Ben Rama of this season to the Anderson of the first season, there's no contest for me. Anderson wins that one hands down. But now I'm going to bring it up on screen. Now, this is where it gets a little bit interesting because when you compare Anderson of last season to Ben Rama of this, now it's a bit more of a close run thing. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll get it up on stream and we'll just pick the bones out of this. Okay, so I'm just going to go full screen with it so that people at home can see it in all its glory. So, chaps, so for Saeed Ben Rama this season, we've had 27 appearances and Felipe Anderson managed 25 last season.
Quickly, just to butt in, Gatesy, one thing I would like to say is I do seem to remember most of Anderson's appearances did come from the starting lineup. So I'd be interested to see what their actual minutes are compared to each other.
Yeah, I don't have that information right here.
Yeah.
To be fair, West Ham Online, but if we just go on the nuts and bolts of what we got from the Premier League's own website, you've got 27 appearances for Ben Rama against 25 for Anderson. Anderson scored 1 goal when we know that Ben Rama's yet to get off the mark. Ben Rama's got the edge when it comes to assist 5-4, however. If we go down a little bit, you've got goals per match. Obviously, Anderson edges it, but it's only 0.4 of a goal or whatever. Minutes per goal, yeah, obviously Anderson has the edge there. Shots, however, Saeed Ben Rama's more active than Anderson was. He's got 32 shots to 23 as an advantage, and he's got 10 shots on target to Anderson's 8. Shots off target, Ben Rama's got the lead in that. Now, I'm not actually having more shots off target than the other guy is actually a good thing or a bad thing, but there you go. I'll leave you to decide on that one. Their shooting accuracy, Anderson has the edge there, 53.33% to 40%. Shooting success, again, Ben Rama loses out there because he hasn't scored a goal. Penalties scored, no. So the rest of it, but I mean, if you look at it, sort of like there's not a definitive winner there for me. I mean, what do you think about that, West Ham Online?
Yeah, I think stats-wise, they're pretty similar. I think the fact that Ben Rama did have more shots, though, I think it's evident of the fact that, in my opinion, his positioning is a lot better than Anderson. I remember a lot of the time Anderson was way too far deep for a player of his ability. So I think Benrahma is certainly. It sounds like a weird thing to say because he's got 0 goals, but I'd see him right now if I was to bet my money on who would score more goals from this point going forward for West Ham, my money would be on Benrahma just for the fact that Anderson would hardly ever, shown by the stats you displayed there, have any chances to score.
Yeah, I think the thing with Benrahma is I think at the minute it's almost like he's trying too hard, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like he's trying so hard to get that first goal, and whether that first goal will be the catalyst and it will be like the Tevez moment when he scored against Tottenham and then the floodgates open, or whether or not, remains to be seen. But I just think when I watch him, I sometimes think that he's making, in the final third, he's making the wrong option a little bit too often for me.
Yeah, they're very similar. Anderson as well, when he'd get in the final third, both of them, Anderson and Benrahma, they're just so frustrating because you know what they can do. And Malsey, good to see you back on this show. Malsey says, could they play together next season? I think if we get Europa League, there's a chance for both of them in pre-season to state their claim, because we might be playing, let's not hold our horses, but we might be playing a few teams who we'd be expected to be in the group stage, perhaps. If we've got a busy, hectic schedule, they might get a game or two in that. So I think it might be smart to keep Anderson next season, especially if we are paying the bulk of his wages, just for him to hardly play at Porto. I think for all parties, it might actually be smart to keep him. Certainly, if we can't get a good amount of money for him and then potential sale.
I've just got something here, chaps. You put this in, Cahill, yes?
Yeah, I was just looking on Transfer Market when it was brought up. It's a bit of an awkward website to sort of look through when you're in a rush. It has all the stats you need, mate. Really.
Do you want to let the class know what you've found? Because Scott
it's
put
just
a
to
comment
compare
in.
them.
I wasn't too sure how accurate it was, where he's made the statement that he believed that Anderson had 400 more minutes than Said. You've managed to clarify that.
Yeah, well, on the Transfer Market thing, it said Anderson had 1,508 minutes and Benrahma's had 1,270 odd. Like, I think it was 1,268 or something.
So that's the 400 is about right, give or take.
Yeah, it's a bit over. What is it, maths wise? 230, is it?
Okay.
It's around 2 or 3 games more. I'd say 2 or 3 full games start. You could say he started maybe three more games worth of minutes to him. So in them 3 games, you never know what you could get with any of them.
Popped into the green room. I'm just going to bring him in. Here he is, all the way from Toronto, Canada. How you doing, Peach?
I'm good. That's a tricky question, Doug, about Anderson and Benrahma. Wow.
If you're comparing Anderson of the first season to the Benrahma that we've got thus far, I don't think it's a difficult question at all. But if you're comparing the Anderson of last season to the Benrahma of this, now it becomes a little bit more of a close run thing. It's not as easy a question to answer as you might think, looking at the stats. Peach?
Yeah.
So it went a bit funny there. I wasn't too sure if you dropped out.
No, I think there was a sort of connection issue, I think, in the sound.
So, but yeah, I think that's a very difficult one. But for me, here's the thing: we paid what, another 13 million quid for Anderson, and we should therefore expect more out of him. Also, he's only got a year left on his contract. We've got Ben Rama for another 5 after this season's over.
Yeah,
So
5.5.
for me, Ben Rama has to work. One way or another, by hook or by crook, we have to make Ben Rama a success. Because as a club, we can't spend that sort of money. And Ben Rama, 25 million, Anderson, 38 million, Haller, 45 million. We can't keep spending money on players to then sell them down the track at a loss. We're not Manchester United. We're not Chelsea. We have to try and give Ben Rama as many chances as you can justifiably give him. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
I don't think we've seen the best of him yet, but I'm also of the opinion that I don't see what Ben Rama produces in training. That possibly could be a reason why he's not getting minutes on the pitch that maybe I'd like to see him get and that maybe everybody would like to see him get. I fully support the guy. I want the guy to be a success. I want any player that pulls on a claret and blue shirt to be a success. But so far, he hasn't done it. But will he do it in time? That remains to be seen.
Absolutely. Like if you compare the Anderson from Lazio against Ben Rama, then you got an argument.
Yeah. So West Ham Online. So if I had to put you on the spot and say Ben Rama or Anderson, who would you pick?
Ben Rama.
Fair enough. Steve?
Ben Rama on potential. Yeah.
Yep. Cahill?
Like if there was to be a game on tonight and I had to play one of them, it would be Ben Rama.
And Peach?
Anderson all day long. Oh no, I'm just playing. Ben Rama. No, I'm just playing.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's a clean sweep, although it's a tight call. But I think that because Ben Rama, I know that he's got, a long contract, whereas Anderson's only got another 12 months. For me,
he has age on his side, Gatesy. He has age on his side.
Yeah, he's what, 3 years younger than Anderson, and he's got another 5 years compared to 1 year for Anderson on their respective West Ham contracts. So in terms of their potential and all the rest of it, we have to, I have to go for Ben Rama. And like I say, I'm just hoping sort of like keeping my fingers crossed that the floodgates will open when he gets that first goal. That's my thing. I'm hoping, I'm willing that but he needs to just let his game flow. For me, he seems to be sort of like tensing up in certain situations, and in the final third, he'll shoot when the pass is the better option. He'll pass, and vice versa. Do you know what I mean? So I just think he needs to just sort of let his natural game flow, and the real Poseidon Ben Rama will come out.
Look at Miles's comment. That makes sense.
Yep.
That makes sense.
It probably is. He probably is a confidence player.
100%.
David Moyes needs to give that
arm
to him.
around him. Yeah.
Yeah. There are some players that react better to a kick up the backside than an arm around the shoulder. I personally think that Ben Rama's the arm around the shoulder type of guy that you need to get the best out of him. I don't think that sort of the ranting and the raving and the throwing of the teacups would work. But, like I say, Ben Rama for me wins that one, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's a knockout, a win on knockout, but I'd say it's a split decision over 12 round on points. So there we go. So West Ham Online, that's the Anderson Ben Rama debate. What's the next one you want to get off your chest?
Oh, I've just seen this from Kent quickly, and I think it is happening. Yeah, apparently it is. So we'll see with that.
That'd be good. Trip up to Glasgow. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah. Yeah. The next one comes in from another Instagram account, obviously. Henry does this one, and the reason I do that is because it's Henry with 3 E's and a double Y. Henry! Henry! And he says Mark Noble would have been world class in Italy due to the speed of the game. Well,
interesting.
I personally think that's not true.
Okay.
But I have seen games where it's slower, where Mark Noble genuinely looks like Andres Iniesta playing. Let's get it right. On the ball, he's fantastic, but he's got absolutely no pace. He's like a slug in cornflakes half the time. I do think he would do brilliant in Italy in his prime, but world class for me. I just want to get that out there. World class for me is a word that's thrown around, a phrase that's thrown around way too much.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking with it as well. Like people say, Wilf Zaha's world class. Like
No.
with the Noble thing.
No.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like earlier in the season when people were saying Souček's world class. Now I know Souček's a very good player, but world class means like top 2, 3, 4 in the world
in your position.
Yeah.
So to call players like I've seen Jesus be called world class, as Cahill just said. Zaha, I've seen it about Mount a lot lately, and I think it's just a bit overboard. I think it is overboard. What do you think, Peach?
Yeah.
Peachington, what do you think?
I think if you're talking world class, I think Ravel Morrison was this close to world class, but his stupid attitude screwed him over. Like,
Yeah.
that was a shame, man, because he was so close to world class. But I hear what you're saying, Alfie. I hear what you're saying. But Ravel Morrison, he was world class, like that far away.
Yeah, he had world class potential, but
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's
He
what
had
I'm
a screw
saying.
loose. That's what
Oh
separated
no,
him
not
from
just
world
one
class
dog. He
and
had 2,
toilet.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws loose, man.
yeah, yeah. Like if I was to say in our squad, I'd say Rice is the only one you could argue is world class, and I even think Rice is. You could argue he isn't.
Give him 2 years.
Yeah, world class is a very exclusive word, and it shouldn't be thrown around as much as it is. Let's just say that.
Let me ask you this. Do you think Carlos Tevez was world class?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think Payet in his season with us for that season he was world class, but I think there's only probably been 2 or 3 West Ham players in their period at West Ham that played in a world class manner.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's my opinion on it.
Like Payet. Payet was world class, but Payet was
Craig
a
Dawson
snake in
for
the
a few
grass.
weeks.
You get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
he was world class, but he was a snake in the grass, dog. Like
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Steve, what do you think about
I
it?
actually kind of agree with this statement. I'm just going to jump in there, if I may, West Ham Online, because this statement is kind of where I'm at with it. I don't think if he was in Italy, if he was an Italian, Marco Noble, sort of like, right? I think if he was playing in Serie A for Torino or a team like that, world class, no. But I think he'd have had caps for Italy. I really do.
Yeah, I do as well.
I think he'd have been more appreciated.
Oh,
what
and
he
they'd
brings
say,
to the table. I'm not saying he would have been.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he would have been sort of like at the same level of an Andrea Pirlo or anything like that. I mean, Andrea Pirlo was world class. Let's not muck about. But I think he would have been more appreciated in Italy if he'd have been playing in that league. If he'd have been an Italian player, I think he would have definitely got a collection of international caps, whether it had been sort of like 5, 10, 20, I don't know.
Yeah, but Gatesy, it's the tortoise and the hare, dog. The Italian league is the tortoise. Like, they move like this.
No, I get that. But all I'm saying is I think if he'd have been Italian, he'd have at least. I mean, he's never even had a call up for England, let alone a cap. I think he'd have had a selection of caps. He wouldn't have been world class. I don't agree with that, but the Italians would have considered him of a standard where he could have played and got international caps for Italy, in my opinion.
Can I deliver an unpopular opinion?
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
I don't believe Di Canio was ever world class.
Wow! You did not just say that.
Okay.
I think he was unbelievable, but he was far too. He had a screw loose certainly, and he was
It was
far
too mental. I know. Yeah.
erratic. There's a reason he's never
Yeah.
been capped for Italy. I've read the Di Canio book as well, and don't get me wrong, he was
brilliant book.
unbelievable.
Maybe the
but-
fascism doesn't help.
Yeah, it don't help. But I just think he didn't reach the levels. Pyatt in the 2015-16 season was consistent over the whole season, and Di Canio was a bit patchy. Unbelievable player, but I don't think he was ever. I just don't think he was ever world class.
I think it would help more to rate him if we got to see him. That's the thing.
Yeah,
If we got to see him week in, week out, and all.
yeah.
He was gone by the time we were like 1.
You know who wasn't world class but turned into world class after a World Cup? Jeff Hurst, man.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
See,
well.
I was
Certainly wasn't live for that one.
No, I was. Thanks for reminding me, Cathal. World-class players who've played for West Ham. Now, I've been following them for, as all you guys know, for 50 years. It's, for me, Bobby Moore was. Martin Peters. I don't agree Jeff Hurst was. Jeff Hurst was damn good, but he wasn't world-class. But Martin Peters was world-class and ahead of his time. He was an extraordinary player.
Yeah, but when Jeff Hurst came back from the World Cup, he looked like a totally different player. It was mad. Like, I watched videos. Like, he looked like a changed person, man.
Well, I don't. Jeff Hurst was just below world class. I don't think he was world class because also he was in the era of Pele. Now Pele was world class.
Oh, no doubt.
If you compare the two players, if you say Pele's world class, that's where you got to get Jeff Hurst to, and Jeff Hurst was no Pele.
And you know what? I hate to say it, but like that hand to God man, like that man was world class, but I'll never admitting to myself that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. The thing is though, Pele and Maradona, they weren't just world class. They were like universe class, like that.
Yeah, they're all timers.
Yeah.
100.
I'm old enough to have seen Pele play international football. Wow, what a player!
I can imagine.
I mean, if I had to pick between Pele and Messi to play for West Ham, it'd be Pele every day.
All day long.
All day long. Other world class players for West Ham. We've got a few who got close. I think Trevor Brooking was fairly close, but I don't think.
Did Brooklyn play a lot in the second division as well, though? Weren't they sort of up and down at the time?
Yeah, Brooking had 3 seasons in the second division, but he was playing international football at the same time. And he was down, him and Keegan were the 2 best players when we went to Spain in '82. But, okay, they were in all the qualifiers and stuff. They didn't get much time in the actual World Cup. And Brooking was brilliant, and so was Keegan, to be fair, but neither, I would say, were that final step to world class. Pyatt, undoubtedly world class.
Would you say Di Canio was, Steve?
No, I think he was just below.
Yeah.
Because again, when you compare him to somebody and you talk about screw loose and stuff, I mean, you can't say Gaza didn't have a few loose screws in his bonds, but
I think he had world-class moments, Steve, but I think that the problem is that to be world-class, you need to have more than world-class moments. You need to have world-class, seasons, and you need to do it back to back to really be world-class, in my opinion. But he had world-class moments.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, the volley against Wimbledon, that's a world-class goal. You could score that goal in any match in the world, and everybody would be saying that's genius. You can't argue with that. But he wasn't there all the time. Payet, yeah. Would Noble be world class in Italy? No. He'd be damn good, and he would probably come across better than he does in the Premier League and be esteemed more highly. But I don't think he's world class. In the same way, you and I disagree on this one, Gatesy. You think Decky's world class now. I think Declan's got the potential to become world class. I don't think he's there at the moment.
I think the only reason I'd say Rice is world class is because I look, when I say top 3 or 4 in his position, I think there's only two. I literally think there's only 3 or 4 alongside Deck.
Yeah,
that
there's
could
not a
rank
lot of
with-
natural
yeah.
out and out CDMs nowadays. There's a lot of like box to boxes and people who can stay in that place. But for a traditional defensive mid, he's one of the best in the world.
Yeah.
I think Tony Adams. I think Tony Adams was world class. I know he doesn't score the goals in that, but I think Tony Adams was world class. I think Vladimir Sufal is going on the escalator up to being world class, man. Real things.
Yeah. I think they're good points, Peach. Personally, I would actually agree on Tony Adams. That wouldn't be popular, but what a defender he was.
Amazing, man.
Now he's definitely getting better and better.
Too old,
You need to read that book. You need to read the Tony Adams book.
Yeah, do I think Deck's world class? I think he will be, but I don't think he's there yet. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Cahill, have you given your opinion on this one yet, mate?
Yeah, it's the same as everyone else. Like the world class. People throwing out world class too much nowadays. You have to be sort of top 5 maybe in your position in the world to be world class. You have to sort of be fine to get into the position of the best team in the world if you're going to be world class. And I think Mark Noble would have been a much better player. I think he's been underrated even at his time in the Premier League and wherever he's played, because he is a very solid player, especially when he's on the ball. And a slower game would have suited him a lot more, and he would have went down a lot better there and looked a lot better. And as you said, played international football.
I take it you're laughing at that one, are you, West Ham Online?
Yeah.
Listen, Alex
he's
entitled to his opinion.
Yeah, maybe
he's entitled to his opinion.
Well, with some of them squads, Gareth Southgate does be picking. You wouldn't be surprised by it.
To be fair, back in January, early part of February, we was all saying why not
world class.
We're laughing at that comment.
Oh yeah, I'm a massive
world class.
I was saying he should be in the England squad. I'm a massive hypocrite.
And it goes back to what we said about Di Canio. Dawson's best game is good enough at that level, but he doesn't do it week in, week out.
And that's the difference.
And that's but his best game, I'd agree with the comment. But
Chelsea.
But he doesn't do his best game all the time.
Yeah,
and that's what separates a true world-class player, isn't it? You know, because Messi is truly world-class because he can do it again and again, season after season, year after year. And you mentioned him earlier, Peach, Ravel Morrison. You know, did he have world-class potential? Oh, all day long and twice on a Sunday. But
you know what? Like Iniesta had world-class potential, but he fulfilled that world-class potential, and that's something Ravel didn't do, and he could have done. Man.
Mind you, Alex goes on to make a good point. If Eric Dyer is good enough to get in the England team, so is Dawson. I can't disagree with that statement.
Yeah,
I cannot disagree with that statement.
Okay, pick some weird
Eric Dyer shouldn't be anywhere near the England squad, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, neither should be. I was seeing earlier. I think this sums up football Instagram, and this actually annoys me when I see this. This blows my mind. I saw people in the past few days. I've seen Southampton fans call Ward-Prowse world class, and I've seen Everton fans call Calvert-Lewin world class. I threw up both comments, flushed myself down the toilet, and called them both plungers. I could not believe what I was reading.
they clearly haven't got a clue what the phrase world class actually means. You know,
Yeah.
that it may be that they're having an excellent season, and you know that they should get called up for their respective national teams. That's fine, but that doesn't make you world class.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, actually, Gatesy. That people are using world class to describe very good. Now, very good is very good, but
Yep.
it's not world class. I've seen loads and loads of very, very good footballers, but I've only seen 7 or 8 who I would class as world class. You know,
For me,
genuinely-
world class, I don't know about you, Steve, but for me, world class is a player that can walk into the best either club team or international team of that moment and not look out of place.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's a bit more. I think they walk into any club or international team and they're the best
Yeah.
player on the pitch.
Mind you, Steve, I think nowadays the kids nowadays see world class as if you can kick the ball straight, you're world class.
You're right.
Yeah,
You're
you
right.
have good moments in your world class nowadays. That's the thing. World class has to
You're
be if
right.
you're making like a best team in the world, just a dream team. That's the world class players. They need to be, and the
Yeah.
squad for that. You need to be in your top 5 for your position in the world. Not James
Right.
Ward-Prowse. He might be a world class set piece taker,
Yeah.
but he's not a world class all round footballer. He's a very good. He's one of the most consistent players in the league. I wouldn't say he's crap, and he's a very good Premier League player. And a lot of teams would like to have him. I wouldn't mind having him, but he's not getting into. He doesn't even. He's not better than someone like Mason Mount, who's a different type of footballer, but he plays in a similar position. So Mason Mount will get into the national team ahead of him. It's really thrown out too easily.
He doesn't
Like,
start for Man City.
Foden is this close to being world class. And it's like, you got bad them like Maldini, who was first class. I got to see this man play. JJ Okocha, he was the most exciting. He was like Adam Traore with like a finishing product. Like, he was nuts.
I love this comment. City fan Dave Stones is world class. I don't agree that he's a donkey.
There's a
You're
difference
entitled to that
between
opinion,
a
but I don't
street
agree he's a
won't
donkey,
forget
but I
player
don't think he's
and a world class
world-class.
player.
Yeah, he's
Well,
he's
Stones ain't that
international
good, dog.
standard.
Stones ain't that good. I don't give two things, dog. Stones ain't that good. He's like a
Stones is
McGuire
good
going
with
to
someone
United
beside
for
him.
how many millions? Stones ain't that good, dog.
He won't
Like,
do it by
straight up.
himself. He's better than Diop, but he has that sort of Diopness to him. He still has them sort of immature tendencies.
Yeah,
But with someone like a
him and
leader
Dawson are
like
almost on
beside
the
him,
same level, and that's like how many millions difference? Like, it's our
with a leader
time,
beside him,
like,
he is a I wouldn't say world class. He's one of the best in the league. You could say at least.
Yeah.
He's a very good.
Right.
He's a very good centre
I
back.
don't rate John Stones, guys.
Shall we?
Casey, I'll tell you what would be an interesting video for us to do. Our
Yeah.
all-time best 11, who we genuinely have seen, we think is world class. What would that team look like? Who would we?
Whoa!
Well,
Whoa!
I've already gone on Russ's show, so I've already done mine.
Whoa!
So I can't change it now. It's set in stone.
It'd be interesting because who do you have in
Yeah.
goal? Buffon or Banks? Yeah.
Whoa!
Fabianski for me. No, I'm joking.
Oh, we're talking
It's
all time.
Fabianski.
We're not talking West Ham. Okay.
No, all time players.
Oh,
like,
it's all
not
time,
West
is
Ham.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, shall we move on to the next one, West Ham Online?
Yes. Let's do
We
it.
batted this one around a little bit, so what's the next one you want to choose?
Well, I fear this one will be done quickly because, in my opinion, it's ridiculous. Although I do see him get a lot of slander in our fan base, so I wouldn't be shocked if someone came out and said he's the worst thing since Matt Jarvis. But AAZ.29 says the first part of this opinion we'll leave to later because that's coming up. But he says Bowen is crap.
Bollocks!
Yeah, little bit harsh.
Yeah, a little bit harsh.
Bowen
Peach,
crap, dog. You got killed.
do you think he's crap, Peach?
I think he is settling into the Premier League. That's why it took David Moyes like 6 months to start the man. Like, yo, I think he's settling in. We're seeing the goodness out of him, just of late. No, he's not crap. He's gonna grow into the game and become something special. I ain't saying world class, but he'll be something special. Trust me.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you, man.
I think it's disappointing that some of our fans genuinely think that Jared Bowen's not a good footballer, and I almost threw up.
I think
I say
it could
that
be his
quite a lot.
decisions, maybe. His decision making can be shit, and he can be frustrating to watch, but he's not a shit footballer. But
I
you
don't
can say
even
that
think
about most of them.
I think his decisions aren't that bad. I just think he went for a short period where he was making a few stinky decisions. I think
It was,
he's a
probably 10
very
or 15
intelligent.
games he was.
Yeah, I think he's a very intelligent footballer. His box play is actually really good. You don't score the amount of goals he's scored. Okay, his Premier League records, it's not bad. He has 8 this season from the wing, which is 8 more than Said Benrahma. But he is a very good box player, and he scored a lot at Hull City. Make of that what you will, but he was playing with players who couldn't even get in a car warehouse starting 11. So he's a very good footballer, and I think that he does have top 6 potential. I don't think he has world class potential. But he's definitely a very good footballer, and I think AAZ probably deserves shooting for that one.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put my answer to that question is very simply, what a load of rubbish. It's nonsense. I mean, he's a great player, very good for us. Yeah, again, it comes back to guide dogs, walking sticks, and dark glasses, doesn't it? You cannot be watching the game. Yeah, it's an extraordinary comment from somebody who clearly either doesn't understand football or hasn't watched the games. It's that simple for me. So there you go. I'll shut up now.
Yes, man.
You'd only miss him if you didn't have him. Like, if you didn't have him on the bench to have him off the bench, or if he wasn't starting, he'd be missed hugely. Like, he's a great player, and he suits Moyes' system, so he's exactly what you need. And he has a lot more to give. So he's definitely not shit.
He's a hard worker. Like, he keeps his head down, but I think he's learning a bit. Like, keep your head up so he knows who to pass it to. Like, he's come through in the last few games, man. So big up Jared Bowen, man. Straight up.
Yeah. I mean, to support Cathle's comment there, I mean, if he wasn't in the side, look what it was like when Fornells was out of the side.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, what a move he was. And I think it'd be exactly the same with Bowen, to be honest. Okay, I'll stop,
I agree.
I just think it's nonsense, this.
Yeah.
Well, there's his stats for this season, West Ham Online. If you want to go through them.
Yeah, I believe that's his overall stats in the league. If I'm being honest, like all of his appearances.
That's
because
for this.
That's since January.
No,
for this season?
No, it's all
I
since
think
January.
that's overall. Yeah.
Yeah, including his stinky 17-year-old self at Hull. But what that does show though is 9 goals, 9 assists, basically all since he joined last summer. I remember there was a period of last season where it's since he joined in January, he was the top assister in the league, and he has 8 goals and 5 assists this season. He's a top class player, and the official dog. What do you think?
I think he's class. I think he suits us very well. He suits Moyes very well, and he's certainly not shit. I'm just reading that and thinking he scored no headed goals, 1 with his right foot and 6 with his left foot. Where are the rest of them coming from? Did he score with his arse or something?
He scored with his chest against West Brom. I remember that. He scored with his chest then. Yeah.
So look at that. Very good footballer. Doesn't even need his feet to score. Doesn't need his head. Great footballer.
Yeah, he's an other with his goals. So great point from the official dog there.
Thank you.
I'll tell you what, I'm just going to go off on a tangent. I'm going to answer Mark's question. Oh. Mark's asking the question: will West Ham right to retire the number 6 shirt? In my opinion, yes, and in my opinion, it was done a couple of years too late because Bobby Moore died in '93, and I don't think we retired it until 2008,
2010 or
something like that. So
Matthew
for me,
Upson was the last to
it
wear
was
it. I think.
Yeah, it was in my
John
opinion,
Hutchinson
Mark,
wore the thing. Like.
I think it was right, and I think it was done several years too late, in my opinion. But that's just me.
We all know Bobby Moore is no Jude Bellingham, but it was right to retire the number.
Oh, yeah, that was
I
am
a bit disappointed, guys. I must say. I'm going to go on a bit of a rant here, but I can't remember what number Razvan Rat was before he left. But really, he deserves
number
his
8.
retirement. Yeah, the servant he was for the club, just the passion he showed, the amount
Next,
of
you'll be saying Joey Beecham.
He deserves it as well. You know, all our players deserve their numbers retired. We should be going into the hundreds looking for new numbers for players because every player that's played for us, even Caleri, was world class at the club, and I think they all deserve a pat on the back.
Well, I've got one to throw in here. Roberto should have just been retired. Forget the shirt. Just get rid of Roberto.
Shot.
He should have been given a Hall of Fame. Really, he should be in the Premier League Hall of Fame already.
Oh,
he should have been taken out into the car park at London Stadium and given it a good shoeing.
Stoning,
in my opinion.
Harry Maguire compared to Bobby Moore always made me laugh. He said, Bobby Moore compared to Harry Maguire. If Harry Maguire was a dog, you'd shoot him. I thought it was hilarious. Bobby Moore,
yeah.
I only saw
send him out
Bobby
to drive
Moore.
the ball.
Yeah. I only saw Bobby Moore play once, and that was against us in the 75 Cup final. And even then, yeah, West Ham, we won the game 2-0, but West Ham couldn't get by him. Every time somebody ran at Bobby Moore, he'd whip the ball off their feet and knock it somewhere and create something. He is undoubtedly the best player we have ever had.
Steve, you can't. I know I'm going to really argue with you here because you can't say he's the best player we've ever had. He certainly was not better than Guy Demel.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think he has the edge. I think if you look at the stats, he might possibly have the edge.
Might be a close run thing. I'll just come back at Mark on this. Guy
Demel's a cult hero.
I am
no slander.
I am actually on record as saying though that the one person I would bring it out for would be Declan Rice. I would ask the Moore family if they were happy with it, and if they were, then I'd offer it to Declan Rice as a sort of like a gesture, if you will, as a signal of how much we think of as a club. That he is to that. He would be the only person I would bring it out of retirement for.
I don't think
I would only do it with the. He possibly wouldn't, but
I think he's
it would be a statement of intent to him. It'd be a statement of intent to him.
He's been offered. I know it's not the extent of a retired number being offered, but he's been offered other numbers. I'm pretty sure, and he wants to keep the 41. I think he's making that like his sort of his brand even.
Yeah.
Or here's a thought: how about a long servant of the club like Nobes? Their last game, their final game for the club, they get to play in the number 6 shirt.
I don't think Premier League rules allow it.
That's a shame because that's
the only thing.
Yeah, that would be a great accolade and appreciation for anybody who has served the club like Nobes has. Ginger Collins, you could argue, could have played in number 6 at the end. I think if we could do that, that would be a fantastic use of the number 6 shirt to appreciate
a ceremonial number.
Yeah, just for their last game.
Yeah, to say that.
See, there won't be a lot of players like that anymore. Mark Noble will probably be the first and last to do that because there won't be a lot of players that get their sort of careers to
I
play with us.
agree. And that's why you could do it, because it would be something extraordinary and special for the player who played for West Ham and captained England to their only World Cup win. You know, it makes it a remarkable achievement to have the honour to wear that shirt once.
Don
Fair
Hutchinson
enough.
has the honour. So should Mark
Getting
Noble.
back on topic. So Bowen, I'll jump in and give my 2 penneth. Jared Bowen shit? No, he's not shit. He's not world class. I won't go that far. He's not world class. He's a bit like Ben Rama, in my opinion, in that when he's in the final third, he has a tendency to make the wrong decision a little bit too regularly to be considered international class, world class, whatever.
I think he has potential.
Oh, yeah. I think if he could sort that side of his game out, I don't think that it would be a stretch to say that international caps couldn't be a possibility down the track. World class, no. He's, you know, if Jared Bowen ever becomes world class, I'd be amazed. But I don't think that it's impossible that he could go on to represent England at some point if he manages to improve his decision making in the final third.
Yeah.
But he's not shit. He's not shit.
Yeah.
That's a completely nonsense statement.
It was only 2 years ago when people were saying that he was the best player in the championship when Jack Grealish was there. People were literally saying, "Oh, this guy's going to be a better player than Jack Grealish," no doubt. Jack Grealish has just exceeded what people thought he could do. And I think Bowen, I genuinely think Bowen looks about 30. He's actually a very, very young player. How old is he? 23, maybe just 24.
I think
he's 24,
isn't he?
I think he was born in 97, I think.
Yeah, so just 24. He's got his prime way ahead of him. His prime isn't for another
Same with
3 or 4
Souček.
years.
It's mad to see how young they are.
Yeah, Souček's
not much older than Josh Cullen.
Yeah, how old is he, Souček? 26 now?
25. I think he might turn 26.
Isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
but what about this one that Luke's pulled up West Ham online? Is Bowen any better than Diangana under Moyes? What do you think?
Well,
never got to see Diangana really.
Yeah, well, Diangana only played against a couple Tin Pot teams in pre-season, so yeah, I think and
Diangana's not really a goal scorer anyway, even for West Brom. He's not an out-and-out goal scorer. He's more of a creative player.
Yeah, he's been disappointing, but he's been in a poor team, in fairness to him.
Yeah, I do.
For Bilic, he could have done stuff if they kept him.
But here's an interesting one that Paul said. Is Bowen as good as Antonio? Different types of player, though, aren't they?
Yeah.
You're comparing apples to oranges, I think. They're both.
No, Bowen's playing at the Premier League at a younger age than Antonio was even playing. Playing. What age was Antonio?
Oh, he'd have been about 26, yeah.
Bowen's played in the Premier League. He played. I know he only played as a young lad a few games for Hull, but he's playing sort of high. He's been at the high quality of football, sort of in England, high championship, as quality of player, not with club, and a decent Premier League player for years. We didn't really appreciate Antonio until recently.
Yeah. Well, I think it's fair to say that. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go
on, West Ham Online.
I just want to say that I agree with a lot of what Kent says, but I think Jack Grealish is underrated. I think he's better than Mason Mount and Phil Foden at the moment, in my opinion. I think if he was at a big club, people would say that. I think Foden obviously is going to exceed Grealish, and Mount probably will too. But I think at the moment, Jack Grealish is an awesome player, and I truly do believe if he was at a bigger club, people would say that he's one of the better attacking players in Europe at the moment.
If he didn't dive so much, it'd be a lot easier to like him. He's just a right out prick, isn't he?
Yeah, that's the thing that puts up puts off fans of other teams from really sort of buying
he's
into
very
the
hard to like.
yeah.
And I'm not
it
someone who
dives-
holds grudges against people for like the international thing. I couldn't give a shit really.
Yeah.
I'll rate him off what I see, and he is obviously he's been great this year and he has his flashes, but he's painful to watch. I just want to see, and this lad claims he grew up playing Gaelic football. No chance that lad was on a Gaelic pitch if he's
Did
acting
he?
like that. He would have been murdered on a pitch. People would have said, if you want to act like that here, we'll actually make you feel like that. Yeah, no, he claimed he was playing all that when he was younger.
Did he live in
Really? I
Ireland?
never knew that.
Did Jack Grealish live in Ireland?
No, but there's plenty of Gaelic teams around. There's a lot of Irish sort of community sort of stuff in England, but he might have spent a lot of time over. I think Grealish would have had a bit more sort of Irishness to him than someone like Rice would. Rice spent a lot of didn't really go over to Ireland as much. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah,
I think Grealish had sort of more of the yeah. I think
Fair enough.
Grealish played Gaelic.
I tell you what would really improve Grealish's game. He needs to learn to grab the leg he was kicked in when he goes down and complain about that one, rather than grabbing the opposite leg. You know, I think he lacks skill in that area. On the Phil Foden thing that was mentioned, and I've said this before, and this is a big statement, I think he's going to be better than Gaza. I think
That is a big statement.
Yeah,
I agree.
Having watched Gaza in Italia 90, and he was brilliant, and I'm not saying he wasn't. Phil Foden's first touch for me is better. And now that is huge because at that time, Gaza was the best player in the world. I think I may well be proved wrong, but from what I see and what I saw both of them coming through, I think Foden's going to be better.
Yeah.
And if he is better, wow. Because Gaza was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
I know. I don't know if I think I've probably told you, Gatesy, before, but my nan. Yeah, I have. My nan comes to West Ham with me, and she's a massive football fan, and she's a massive Messi fan. In fact, she always talks about Messi. It gets a bit frustrating in the end. You never really end of it. But she thinks that Foden's the best young player on the ball she's seen since Messi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I can't tell.
just wish he'd stop diving.
Yeah, I tell you what, though, Gatesy, that for a lad that young, the skill he's got is unbelievable.
Mm.
I've every time I watch him play, I think, how the hell did you control that? Look what you've done with the ball there. I don't often get for another team's player. Won't often tune into a game just to watch another team, but I'll tune in to watch him because I think he's that good.
Fair enough. Should we move on to the next one, West Ham Online?
Yeah, let's do it. Don't know why I have the light off in my room, but struggling to see the writing, but there we go. Alfie.Rushbrook says Rice, aka Mr. Deck, is clear of Souček, and as you can see right there, he doesn't just mean he's clear. He's got the ellipsis, he's emphasising it, he's got the very, I mean, this man basically is calling Souček a scrub.
Okay. Interesting. So, where do you want to take this, West Ham Online?
I'll let the others speak before me. I want to see what other people have to think.
Steve 50.
Okay, Souček is a great player, but Rice is better. And it is that simple. And when Rice is in the team, Souček is a better player. I think when Souček is out of the team, Rice is pretty much the same player. So, yeah, Rice is better than Souček for me. But
is he very, very clear, do you think? I don't think there's an awful lot of argument. There's an awful lot of scope to argue the point that Rice is clear of Souček.
Oh, no.
But is he very, very clear?
Yeah. I think Souček is a damn fine player and he's not far off Rice, but he's not as good as Rice. But he's not very, very clear. No, they're two absolutely fantastic players who play really well together, and the sum of their parts, the total thing is much greater than the sum of their parts. I think they're both terrific, and yeah, Rice is better, but not very, very, very better. But what do you expect? You're only going to have one Declan Rice in the team, a player of that quality, and Souček is a really good quality player. So no, I disagree completely with the statement, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Cahill, your thoughts? Is Rice very, very clear of Thomas Souček in your opinion?
No, not at all. They're a partnership. One's going to do one job better than the other. Like they're not two of the same thing. You could say Rice is very, very clear of him as a defensive midfielder, like on the defensive acts of it. But you could also say Thomas Souček's very, very clear of Rice on the attacking side of it. It's a yin and yang sort of thing. They're the thing that are together. As Andy said, they're a partnership, and they're one of the best partnerships in the league. And they'd really, if they were going to other clubs, they probably wouldn't perform at the same level. Maybe if Rice was to go to Man City, he would, because it's a different thing. But they really do need each other. They're a really good balance, and they are one of the best duos in the league. And I wouldn't say one's clear of the other. I'd say Rice is probably better than him at what he does, and Souček's better than Rice at what he does. They both do two different sort of jobs.
I've got up there for you, gents, the Premier League website's player comparisons page. And yeah, I think that it's fair to say that what you've just said is completely the story here, because offensively, Thomas Souček is the better of the two. 9 goals to 1. They've both got 1 assist each. But in terms of sort of like interceptions and all the rest of it, defensively, I would say that definitely Declan Rice is the better player. You're comparing apples to oranges scenario, but exactly what what Milesy said, that when Declan Rice is missing, Thomas Souček doesn't look the player that he was when Declan Rice was there. They complement each other so perfectly. And as Declan Rice has been missing, and of late, Thomas Souček's not got the license to get forward and get on the end, make the late runs into the box, get a goal, cause a problem for opposition defenses and all the rest of it. So, it's a little bit of an unfair comparison, in my opinion. I know that they're sort of like alongside each other in the same midfield unit, but like I say, I think it's a bit of an unfair comparison, in my opinion.
I mean, if you look at the stats against Burnley, you can't actually say that entire teams were clear of Souček in terms of aerial headers won. It's ridiculous. He does a different job. You're dead right, Cathal. And there you have it. I just think they're great together. And if you're going to start saying one is miles better than the other, you need to look at what they bring rather than what they do individually, if you see what I mean.
Yeah. As I say, I don't think there's an awful lot to say about that. Is Declan Rice the better player of the two? In my opinion, yeah. And I don't think I'd find many West Ham fans that would argue it. But is Declan Rice well clear of Thomas Souček? Not really.
No.
Not really. But as I say, they complement each other perfectly. So, is there anything you want to add to that, West Ham Online?
I think Rice is the better player. Not clear, though. If I was to break it down into every attribute, defensively, I think Rice, he isn't well clear. I think the stats back that up, but I think defensively, Rice is better. I think in the air, Souček is better. I think passing, Rice is better. I think technically, Rice is better. I think on the ball, Rice is better. I think scoring goals, Souček's better. Making runs, Souček's obviously better. Crossing, Rice is better. So I think Rice is slightly better, but I think both are crucial. I remember some people who didn't rate Rice only started rating him after lockdown when the teams came back. People started to think, "Wow, Rice is actually a very good player," who didn't already rate him.
But they were mainly Newcastle fans comparing him to Sean Longstaff,
Yeah.
or Leeds fans comparing it to Calvin Phillips.
Yeah, yeah. But what you do notice is some people only started to rate Rice as soon as Souček arrived, and I don't think that is a coincidence. I think
Lockdown
Rice
helped as well.
Yeah,
because
it
people
did,
had to just do nothing else other than watch football. I've been saying it for years. Rice has been world class, not world class, but like on the sort of the edge of being like one of the sort of best quality CDMs out there. There's not a lot of them, and he's been one of the best for years, and people have only seen it because lockdown comes in and Souček comes in beside him instead of Noble, and he gets lots of more people get to see us playing football because they'll watch anything that's on the TV. And Souček's obviously helped them immensely.
Yeah, but I do think that Rice has become better since Souček arrived. And I do think
100%.
Souček without Rice is actually quite average. I don't know if that's overall, but I think since Rice got injured, Souček's
good
been
midfielder.
relatively average. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not quite the same player though, is he? Because of course he can't make those marauding runs forward to get on the end of a cross and trouble the goalkeeper. So he's definitely not the same player without Rice, 100%. Obviously, it'd be interesting to see, because we haven't really seen it yet, how would Rice look without Souček? That would be quite an interesting one.
Well, we've seen it for years.
Well, we did see it. Yeah,
we have, but
and he was always class.
Is that right now, because obviously he's got used to having Thomas Souček ahead of him. So how would he then recalibrate his game if he had?
Yeah,
like that's actually a question as well. I know it's good because he gets man of the matches, but I don't watch it. So, what's he like for England?
Oh, at the start, he was actually quite poor, but I'd say the last 5 games he's played for England, he's arguably been the best player in nearly every one.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the international, so I can't comment.
Yeah,
fair enough.
On to the next one, West Ham Online.
Yeah, the final opinion of the night. Before we wrap it up, Jake Thomas.17 has made his appearance. I noticed that he's been in here before, so I'm wondering if he has any football knowledge. But he said, to be fair, this could definitely be argued. You see it on the screen now.
Yes, interesting. So he's saying Dawson's not very good, and he's been made to look better because Ogbonna's alongside him.
Ogbonna. Poor spelling from Jake, can I add?
Yeah, I'll have to mark him down for that, being a school teacher,
Yeah.
Steve, your thoughts? Oh, sorry, West Ham Online. Sorry, apologies.
Oh, no, I was just going to say the same thing. I was going to say, do you agree, Steve?
Do I agree? No, I don't really. What you get with Dawson is you get Dawson. Dawson tailed off when he'd had a long run of games and started to look knackered. The last couple of games, he's looked a lot better. Dawson is solid. Ogbonna is undoubtedly the better central defender, and it's a bit like the Rice Souček argument. They're better together. You put both of them together, and they are good, and they bring the best out of each other, and they work well together. But I don't think Dawson's awful. I think he's just solid and decent, and you could have a lot worse at centre back than Dawson. Has he made some howlers? Yes. But we're West Ham. Those are the types of players we get. That's why we get Lingard, because he isn't outstanding every single game. He's not consistent. It's the consistent players that are playing at the top teams. We don't get those very often. We get players who can be brilliant or can be awful. but I think Dawson's okay. Let's look at what we paid for him. What was it, 2.5 million? Good buy at
Yeah,
2.5.
2-3 million, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's great value for money. He'll do a job for you, but he is better when Ogbonna's in the team. But I'm going to say something controversial here. I think Ogbonna's better when Dawson's in the team because they bounce off each other and they work well together. That's
Bit
my
like
opinion.
Rice and Soucek.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly the same.
Yeah, fair enough. Cahill, do you want to get your teeth into this one? Dawson is rubbish. He's only looked good because
No.
Ogbonna's alongside him.
I don't think someone
I'll
lasts.
tell you what. Before you answer that, I'll tell you what. Let's just
Yeah.
slightly change the question a little bit. Has Dawson been the same player with Diop alongside him or with Balbuena alongside him as he was when he had Ogbonna alongside him? Has there been a tail off, in your opinion?
Of course, but I have no confidence in Diop watching him. No matter, imagine playing with him. Like, it's he's not rubbish. There's no way you play 10 years sort of high quality of English football, whether that be a championship or a Premier League sort of team that might be getting relegated. But he's played enough Premier League games to prove he's a solid player. I really like him because I just like that sort of no nonsense. I don't care. I know it's the same with goalies as well. Everyone wants this ball playing goalie they're all prone to making absolute howlers. Like I'd rather someone like Fabianski who's a good shot stopper, and when they get it, they just boot it up the pitch. Yeah, at times it can be frustrating, but it's kind of you have to give and take with it. I'd rather someone like Dawson who's solid and is just going to boot the ball away or be real solid in the air and sort of kick some lad in the head in his debut just for the crack of it, than sort of more of a technical centre back, because you can have two of them. I don't think you need two of them. That's why I think Ogbonna and Dawson together work so well. And yes, Dawson got tired after he played 18, 19 games in a row. He wasn't even used to that with Watford or West Brom. He wasn't always a certain starter there, and he played a lot of games at right back as well. He's I think he's a very solid player. He likes a goal, and so does Diop, in fairness to him. But certainly not rubbish. I like him a lot.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've got a player
Something
in for
charming,
£3 million
isn't there?
quid. Yeah, I mean, look,
There's
he's a
a
£3
charming
million
sort of thing to it.
player. Yeah, he's the reality
And
is,
he's
guys,
10
he's a
times
£3
what we ever
million
expected.
Yeah, he's a £3 million player, and it's not like he's got Real Madrid, Barcelona, Juventus on his resume. He's got Bolton, he's got West Brom, he's got Watford. But for £3 million, I mean, you got to say that so far, and yes, you're right, he's made mistakes, but player that's never made them looked, has he been value for money? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. He's looked more than a £3 million player, but has he looked a £30 million player? No, because he isn't, simple as that, in my opinion. Does he look better when Ogbonna's alongside him? Yeah. But, again, it's one of those things. It's a balance. Sometimes you get two players that are so in sync with one another that you have that player individually and they don't look that special, and you have this player individually, they don't look that special. You put them together and they just work. They're in perfect sync with one another, and it just sparks fly. Now, whether that's sort of like you're playing them as a front pair, a midfield pair, a defensive pair, or a fullback and a winger in front of one another, whatever, you get partnerships all around a pitch in a game of football. Centre backs, this is what we're talking about. Dawson and Ogbonna alongside each other, rock solid, no problem. Dawson alongside Diop, or Ogbonna alongside Diop, or Dawson alongside Balbuena. Now I'm not too sure, but that's my opinion on it. West Ham Online?
Well. I do think since Ogbonna got injured, Dawson and Diop have been reminiscent of the Chuckle Brothers at the back. I think you could probably stick me in the back, and I would have done better than them two have done recently. But do I think Dawson's horrendous without Ogbonna? Look, last season at Watford fans said he was horrific. Let's just get it straight. They said he was horrendous. Last season at West Brom, he was in the Championship. He wasn't very good. I can't. I think he's average. I think he's very average. I think with Ogbonna, he was in a brilliant spell, and I think he has those games because he's a very Brexit defender. If he was to be a cereal, he'd be a Weetabix. He's very ordinary. He's very good at certain things. He gets stuck in. But do I think
Ogbonna's the sugar?
Yeah, Ogbonna like the milk, the sugar. Probably
He's a bit vanilla.
Yeah. I think Dawson's. I don't think Dawson's great, if I'm honest. I think we should be looking for a new centre back in the summer. But when he's playing it with a giraffe on roller skates, in Ogbonna's absence, then he's not got much chance. I think you all know what I think of Diop, and him and Dawson are just. You have heart attacks watching them two, shuffle around trying to look like good defenders when it looks like they're playing Char slide half the time. Horrendous. They have been together. Absolutely horrendous. And I think there could certainly be an argument for it because them two playing together have been horrendous.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. As I say, I think sometimes you just get partnerships that are not quite so good, and I think that Dawson and Ogbonna works a treat in the same way that Souček and Rice does. But for whatever reason, put Diop in there alongside Dawson, or put Balbuena in there. Just doesn't work. Just doesn't work. But there you go. Anything you want to add to the mix before we start to wrap it up? West Ham Online.
No, I think that's all. What I will say, Balbuena looks good next to Ogbonna. Dawson looked good next to Ogbonna. I think Diop looked very average next to Ogbonna, and I don't think he'd look out of place at Accrington Stanley for money.
I have something to say. I don't want to make a whole big sort of debate over it, but I was listening to the Peter Crouch podcast with Nobes
I've
on
heard
it.
about this. Yeah, I haven't listened to it myself. Go on.
It's only like 50 minutes long. It's worth a listen. It's fun, and you there's not much about football really. It's just sort of or like the current sort of situation. It's just fun to listen to lads talk who know what they're on about. And Nob was on about he talks to Arnautovic most days, how good he was in the dressing room, that like he wasn't a bad influence on it. That's that he wasn't a bad influence, and that they all talk to him still, and he was a great lad, and he's really misunderstood by the fans. And
they still talk to
Crouch
him.
said, yeah, he says he talks to him, and he said Crouch said when he was at Stoke, he said he was saying he'll end up in China one day. So maybe he just sort of knew what he was at, but he said he's not really like someone who flipped the dressing room around and pissed everyone off, and they all still talk to him, and he's really misunderstood. So I sort of want to see what other people's opinions are on it.
Okay.
Because that's coming from the mouth of the captain. Like,
we'll have that.
I wouldn't have expected to hear that, but in hindsight, I do think his brother as agent was the big problem. You know, his brother was a complete pain in the backside. Would I take Arnie back? Because there's rumours he wants to come back.
Would he improve our team, Steve? Given that we've now got it from the captain of the club captain that, you know, the players are still on good terms with him. So the thought that would he come back and upset the team dynamic and all the rest of it is kind of been put to bed by that interview, by the sounds of things.
And he
I've
played his
made it
best
right.
football under Moyes, and he left under Pellegrini as well.
Yeah. So that
I
being
think-
the case, what do you think?
I think he'd improve us, yeah. I do. I thought Arnautovic under Moyes was terrific. And you could tell Arnautovic liked playing for Moyes, and you could tell Moyes liked him. So after hearing what Nobes has said on that podcast, yeah, providing he didn't want ridiculous wages, yeah, take him back. Because he was, absolute class in some of those games. But I'd only take him back on one proviso. He got a different agent. I wouldn't have his brother as his agent.
He's got to sack his brother.
Yeah, if he really wants to come back, because I think most of the problems stem from his brother, who was always tweeting farcical things and ridiculous things. And just
Thing is, though, Steve, is that Daniel Arnautovic was his agent when he left Stoke and came to us, and they were playing silly buggers with Stoke. So we shouldn't have really been surprised that what happened when he left came to pass, because it had happened before. He'd had form.
Well, no, same with Payet, to be fair, isn't it?
Mm.
I mean, we were all really upset, but yeah, Leopard doesn't change its spots and all that. Yeah, I'd have Arnie, but I wouldn't have his brother as his agent. Scott saying bridges have been burnt. Well, with the fans maybe, but clearly not with the team.
Yeah.
And that genuinely surprises me, what Cathal's just said. But if that's the case, and he realises his mistake, yeah, take him back. Bloody brilliant on his day.
Thing is, I agree with what Mark says here. I'm a big believer in the old mantra, never go back. There's very few occasions, there are exceptions, but very few occasions of a player or a manager going back to a former club and being as good or better than they were the first time round. There are exceptions, but not many. Sorry?
David Moyes.
Yeah.
David Moyes. Yep. Steve, who did you say?
Tony Cottee. He was pretty
No,
decent.
he was better.
He wasn't as good as the. Yeah, he wasn't as good as the. Before.
First time round, he was a goal machine. Second time round, he was still good, but not quite.
But he was worth having in the team.
He wasn't as good second time round.
If you're not comparing it, like their form, if he still is good for the team and helps you get results in certain games, it's one of those really. Because we need a striker. I'm not. You see, I'm very 50-50 with it, because I think we were asked this question a few weeks back, and I was kind of like piss off. Like,
yeah.
I'm not saying I've switched to saying I want him back, but when you hear it from someone as big for the club and as important as Mark Noble, saying that he's misunderstood by us, it does sort of sway it a bit. But it is a tough one. I still not sure. I'm still sort of 50-50. More leaning towards the no side because of his age and wages, but as just an entity of a player without all the drama aside and the agents and all that and money, playing wise, he would make us better.
Yeah.
What do you think, West Ham Online?
I think Noble should shut his mouth. I think Arnautovic
Thing is, was he asked? Can I just sort of, before you sort of say anything on that West Ham Online, can I just throw that back to Cowell, because obviously he's listened to the interview, I haven't. Was this in relation? Was this a question that Peter Crouch asked Mark Noble, or was this just information that Mark Noble volunteered? Can you remember?
I can't remember how it came out, but because I know that Nobes was on about how he FaceTimes them and they still talk, and because Crouch had played with them at Stoke as well, so they both had their own stories to talk about him, and they both said how misunderstood he is.
Okay, interesting. Sorry, carry on, West Ham Online.
Look, would I have him back? No. He's, what is he, 32 now on high wages, and let's get it right. The reason why I say that about Noble is, yes, Noble might be right. The players might personally have not taken a disliking to him in the dressing room, but I have no doubt that he ruined that season. We could have got Europe if he didn't strop off, and if there wasn't that negativity in the club at the time. I genuinely do believe that it did affect us negatively because we had to play effectively with Lucas Perez up front and things like that. I just think his brother's a disgrace. I don't think Arnautovic is a horrible person. I think it's mainly his brother. But let's get it right. Arnautovic didn't prevent his brother from doing what he did at West Ham or at Stoke. He could have. He easily could have. It's not like he's like his brother's doing, like, he could easily go against his brother and go, hang on a second, this is misleading. This isn't what I want. No. He took absolutely no opportunity to put that right. In my opinion, I don't think he's misunderstood because he could have easily have gone against his brother. He clearly has his brother as his agent because his brother's in it for the money. Let's get it straight. And he's just done nothing against it. No, he can stay in China and rot away for all I care. He's old. His wages are high.
Well, he won't be in China. His contract's out.
Yeah, I'll
Is
find
it
stay there
somewhere?
anyway.
Yeah,
But allegedly,
he's going somewhere on a free. It's just contract wise, he probably cost a lot.
Okay.
allegedly, and I've got no evidence to back this up, but from what I heard, allegedly, he had financial problems. Basically, he had to go to China to sort them out. If he didn't go there,
So hang on. So he had
Really?
financial problems whilst he was at West Ham.
What was he on? 80 grand a week?
yeah,
He was on 120 by the end. I'm pretty sure. I don't think you'd have to have some big issues.
How did he survive?
They were pretty
Poor lad.
big, I understand. It was, if I use the phrase "when the fun stops, stop," that might make it a bit clearer for you
Oh.
guys.
Ah, got it.
Yeah, but I swear he's literally not allowed to gamble.
Well, I don't know.
Interesting.
Or drink.
That
Or drink or anything in that demeanour.
Yeah, and I think that's what was reported in a number of sources. Now, I've got no evidence to back that up, and this is all what people have said allegedly, and I might be doing him a huge disservice. But on the other hand, if there is any truth in it, and you back yourself into a corner, sometimes you just got to get yourself out. I don't know. It just puts a bit of a twist on it, I think.
That is true. Then, well, yeah, I mean, come on, he's done that wage, and what is he thinking? Honestly, like he's just not needed. In terms of return, it's off for me.
1-1. Oh,
Oh no!
We love
Offside,
you, Chelsea.
what? 1-0 again.
Yeah, VAR looks like they've rolled it out.
No,
Oh,
Arsenal were
Scott!
winning 1-0.
Scott!
Was it Werner?
Don't do that.
Was
to
it
me.
Werner offside? Scott, Werner
Oh.
offside. I bet. Please, Scott, say it was
God!
offside.
He had sort of like a toenail offside, but hey ho, what do you do? It is what it is. Here's what I think. I'm on record, and I've put it on various social media platforms when I've been seeing the question, should we sign Arnautovic? I've had the same response every single time. I'd rather shit into my hands and then clap.
Fair enough.
Now, however, if the club captain's coming out and he said what he said, and I just haven't listened to the interview, but if Cahill tells me that this is what's been said by Mark Noble, then I'll take that at face value. Because that was sorry,
Mark Noble, you're a disgrace, and I hope you get relegated.
Now.
I was only making it up. I just wanted a bit of drama. That's sorry.
But no, I mean, if he said that, then I mean, that changes the dynamic a little bit, because that was something I thought, if we had a destabilizing element coming into the camp that was going to cause problems and that he left on bad terms and yada, 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 then no, absolutely not. However, if the club captain's coming out and saying that, no, we're all on good terms with him and we still talk and, blah, blah, blah. Would I take him back? Well, what I think is irrelevant. I'm not the manager of the team. If David Moyes thinks that he can... No.
You've got to give an answer, Gatesy, there.
Well, it's not. I mean, would I have him back if I was the manager? No, I wouldn't. I'd be like, no, get lost.
Yeah.
But then again, I suppose David Moyes wasn't the manager when he left. If David Moyes was the manager when he left, it might have been a different thing, but he wasn't. Like I say, my default position is I don't want him back. But if the club captain's come out and said that there's no problem with the players, then that kind of makes it a little bit sort of, okay, fair enough. Now, as I say, I asked Steve the question. Would he make
I'm the same.
team
I don't have
better?
an answer. It's 50-50, really.
Oh, hello. 1-1 Zuma. Oh.
I'm only joking, Gatesy.
Oh, why are you doing that to me? Why are you doing that to me? Why are you doing that to me?
I was literally just looking. I have the live score up, and I didn't see it. I was like, "What's going on?"
No need. No need for that. They're picking on me, Scott. They're picking on me. Would he make the team better? And that's the thing, if he's going to make the team better, and the players don't have a problem with it, and the manager doesn't have a problem with it, and if he can smooth over his relationship with the hierarchy, Golden Sullivan, obviously, and that a deal can be struck where we're not going to be having our trousers pulled down and bent over a table, then I suppose, really, okay, I'll stomach it. I'll have to hold my nose. But if the signing's going to be to the benefit of West Ham United Football Club, okay, fine, I'll take it. But no, my default reaction would be, like I say, I'd rather shit into my hands and then clap. But this does kind of change the dynamic a little bit for me.
I've got to say, if it was a choice, I had to have one of them back, Dimitri Payet or an Arnautovic. I'd have an Arnautovic back. I wouldn't have Payet, because Payet, by his own admission, said he behaved badly deliberately.
I haven't heard that one.
Oh, he came out and said it, yeah. He said, I think his comment was, I was an arsehole and I know how to be one. And I don't think any West Ham fan would disagree with that. He was I think Payet, and that's the difference. Payet was world class and we all loved him and we all loved what he could do. And I think he let us down so badly that I'd have an Arnautovic out of the two, because I think an Arnautovic let us down less badly than Payet did.
Yeah. Okay, well, is there anything you gentlemen want to add before we wrap it up? No. All good? Okay, right.
No, that's all good. Thanks.
Okay, right. Well, I'm going to start wrapping it up now. And before I do, I'll do my usual shout up. So for you guys watching live and anyone that watches subsequently, you know where this is going. This is my usual shout out to young Isla Caton, who is a 6-year-old girl battling against neuroblastoma. This is a cancer that there is no treatment for in the NHS. So her family, in the middle of this pandemic that we're all going through, have got to put their entire life on hold and take this little girl to wherever it is in the world that they've got to go to get the treatment to save her life. Now, they've got to pay for the treatment, the flights, the accommodation, living costs, and the bills in the UK are still going to be coming in, guys. They don't stop. So this is a really expensive and stressful time for this family. Now, There you have the PayPal and the Just Giving page, and this is all in the description below the video on YouTube. So if you go back to that, you can find it on there. Just copy and paste it to your social media, send it to all your friends and your family, put it on your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram, and all the rest of it. And if you can you please make a donation to either the PayPal or the Just Giving pages that you've got there in front of you. This, there's no donation that you can make from £1 upwards that would be considered too small. They will take anything that can be offered from £1 upwards. And as I say, put it on your social media, send it to your friends, to your family, bug the hell out of them. And we need to try and keep the momentum going, guys, because this is a race against time. This little girl is fighting for her very existence on this planet. And at the age of 6 years of age, I speak as a father of three. I find that quite difficult to comprehend, that a little girl should be going through this and a family should be having this stress and pressure at this time. So, guys, not just us at Forge from Iron, but this is the entire West Ham YouTube community. We are all behind this campaign as one, and we would urge you, if there's any spare funds you can put in this, please do, because there is a little girl very, very ill that needs your help. Thank you very much indeed for listening. So, guys, I'd like to thank you all for your attendance. So, Still 50, thanks for coming along, mate.
Cheers, Gatesy. Pleasure and privilege as always.
Thank you very much indeed. Cahill, thanks for coming.
Thanks. Cheers. It's always good.
Appreciate it, mate. West Ham Online, something you wanted to add?
No. Thank you for having me on.
No. Thank you for coming as always, my friend. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap it up there. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, and as soon as we upload any new content, you'll be notified of any content that Duke or I upload to the channel. If you could drop a like on the video as well, that would be much appreciated. Share it to your social media. Let your friends know we're here. We go tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We are doing the season review, Hammer Time of Our Lives, and we're reviewing the season 1992-93, where we were trying to get promoted into the Premier League for the first time since its inception. So, thanks for joining us, guys. Stay safe. Only one thing left to say, isn't there?
Come
on, you Irons. Stay safe, guys.